Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to the Swayam NPTEL course on Environmental Geosciences. We are discussing the Model 2, and within the Model 2, today's we will discuss the lecture 4, that is Geological Work of River. Already we have discussed the geological work of wind. Now today we will discuss the geological work of river. In this lecture, the three important concepts will again come as we have seen in the geological work of wind, that erosion, transportation and deposition. In this lecture, we will cover the erosion part, that is fluvial erosion. This fluvial erosion is divided into two different parts, that is mechanical erosion and chemical erosion, and then the transportation and deposition. Geological work of river. So this phenomena, which is associated with the geological action of river, is generally known as fluvial cycle of erosion or the normal cycle of erosion. Now, what are the methods? By erosion is meant disintegration and decomposition of the rocks and soil material by a natural agent through mechanical, chemical and other physico-chemical processes, accompanied by removal of the disintegrated or decomposed product to far off places by the same agent. So rivers are the most powerful subaerial agents of erosion. This erosion caused by river water or running water is generally of two types, that is the mechanical erosion and chemical erosion. Now one by one we will discuss. First, the mechanical erosion. It is because of the physical forces associated with the running water. It takes place in four different manners. Hydraulic action, first one. Forces which is inherent in the flowing of running water, they are also disintegrating the product. It can do a great deal of erosion of the bank and the bedrock. It is mostly due to the surface relief, that is the gradient. Second is the abrasion. The materials which are being carried away by the running water, the loose materials, the disintegrated materials which are being carried away by the running water, acts as a tools of destruction, and during their transportation, because of their rubbing action against the surface of the bedrock, they bring out a scraping action of the surface, and this process is generally known as corrosion. So this is about the abrasion. Now third is the attrition. So materials during their transit often collide themselves and in turn get themselves teared, and this is the process through which big boulders are gradually reducing to a finer size, that is the size of grade of the sand and silt. This term is used for wear and tear of the load sediments being transported by a moving natural agency through the process of mutual impacts and collisions which they suffer during their transport. Next is the cavitation. This is because of the presence of the air bubbles which create a whirling action at a time of penetration of water through the existing pores and fissures. And the small sand particles along with the air bubbles play a major role in widening the cavities. In the figure also you can see just small pore, water is entering and they are creating the whirling action. It is particularly observed when running water suddenly falls with high velocity, such as at location from high level to low level. It is known that when stream velocity exceeds 12 meters per second, the water pressure developed result in vertical sucking out the material and thereby creating holes and depression that continue deepening with passage of time, and such type of holes are called as potholes. So potholes are because of the cavitation processes. The next type of erosion is the chemical erosion. It is also called as corrosion. This is a process in which the material gets dissolved in the water of the river and are transported in solution. Chemical weathering involves the breakdown of rocks through chemical reactions, altering their mineral composition. Key processes include hydrolysis, where water reacts with minerals to form the clays, oxidation, which leads to the formation of rust-like iron oxides, and carbonation, where carbonic acid dissolves rocks like limestone. Additionally, dissolution occurs when soluble minerals such as halite dissolved in water, while acids from organic matter or pollution further accelerate the weathering. The factors generally responsible are dissolving action of water due to the presence of CO2 and the solubility of the river bed. Now second, after erosion, the second process is the transportation in the geological work of river. Here again two different methods of transportation, mechanical transportation and chemical transportation. Mechanical transportation takes place by three different means, that is suspension, which is floating, traction by creeping and rolling, and saltation through lifts and falls of materials. So this is about the mechanical transportation. Now chemical transportation is through the process of solution, usually in the form of carbonates and sulfate of sodium, potassium, magnesium. So in the figure you can see the mechanical erosion also and the chemical erosion. Now next, every river receives enormous amount of material during its flow from head to mouth. This material includes the rock and soil particles that the river acquires by its own work of erosion along the channel. Heterogeneous type of materials comprising of branches and trunks of trees washed down by the rills and material contributed from processes of mass wasting such as rock falls, soil creep, rain wash and landslides from other distinct category of material that are transported by the river. So this is about the transportation of sand by a river current. The load as all the material being transported in running water of a stream or river may be distinguished into different categories like suspended load. It is made up of fine sand, silt and clay sediments that are light enough to be transported in the stream water in state of suspension. Bed load, this fraction of river loads comprises the heavier particles of sand, pebbles, gravels, cobbles and other type of materials which are moved along the other side of the roads. The dissolved load, this fraction include particles of material soluble in water which the river may gain due to its solvent action on the rock of the channel. Numerous rivers from the land part carry calcium carbonate, calcium sulfate and sodium chloride and other soluble salts from limestone, gypsum, anhydrite and rock salts. So this is about the different types of load generally the river or running water is carrying with it. Now third is the deposition. It is the last geological action by the river whereby materials transported gets accumulated in an appropriate site where the following factors generally play major roles. First is the decrease in velocity of the transporting medium. Second is the decrease in slope. Third is the decrease in volume. Next is the change in channels and next is the chemical precipitation. So the entire load of a stream or a river will normally remain in transport unless there is a change in one or other factor responsible for its transport. The process of dropping down of its load by any moving natural agent is technically called as deposition. Wind, river, glaciers and marine deposits are important natural agents that make typical type of deposits. The types of deposits, first is the alluvial fans and cones. These are cone-shaped accumulation of stream deposits that are commonly found at places where small intermediate streamlets coming down from hill slopes enter the lowlands. In the figure also, left side is showing the alluvial cones, whereas right side is the alluvial fans. Natural levees, these are essentially river bank deposits made by a river along its bank during floods. The natural levees are sometimes helpful in preventing further flooding in a river provided the volume of water for a new prospective flood is not much higher than that of a previous floods. Deltas are defined as alluvial deposits of roughly triangular shape that are deposited by major river at their mouth, that is where they enter a sea. In figure also you can see the delta, generally these are the alluvial deposits of roughly triangular shape. Next is the channel deposits. Many streams are formed by some natural causes to deposit some of their loads along the river bed. These are also called as the channel deposits. They are of great economical use, being the source of sand and gravel quite suitable for use as construction materials. Now we have seen the erosion, transportation, deposition through the geological work of river. Now the different landforms being created because of this action is the very important one. because prolonged erosion by a river and the associated stream produces many interesting and important surface features like potholes, river valleys, gorges and canyons, waterfalls, river terraces, river meandering and oxbow lakes. Now one by one we will understand potholes. These are various separate depressions of different dimensions that are developed in the riverbed by excessive localized erosion by the streams. The potholes are generally cylindrical or bowl shaped in outline. These are created in the softer rocks occurring at a critical locations in the bedrock of a stream. The formation processes for a pothole may be initiated by a simple plucking out of a protruding or outstanding rock projection at the riverbed by hydraulic action. In the figure, you can see the potholes formed in riverbed by hydraulic action. Next is the river valleys. A valley may be defined as a lowland surrounded on sides by inclined hill slopes and mountain. Every major river is associated with a valley of its own. In fact, rivers are responsible for the origin, development and modification of their valleys through well understood process of river erosion. Now, origin. A river valley may have a modest origin when traced backward in the geological history of the area. On a gentle sloping surface, river water gets collected along lower level and flows as small streamlets. In a short time, small gullies are produced where rainwater gets naturally collected from adjoining slopes. Further erosion deepens and widens an originally gully that can accommodate bigger volume of water. So you can see in the figure river valley with small gullies. Valley deepening, it is achieved by cooperative action of the processes involved in erosion. Deepening is obviously caused due to the cutting down of the river bed. Lengthening of river valley, a peculiar type of process called headward erosion is generally held responsible for lengthening of river valleys. River capture, river piracy, a peculiar phenomena of capture of draining basin of one river by another river, fast eroding its channel in headward direction. Third is the gorges and canyons. The process of valley deepening often gives rise to a magnificent surface features known as gorges and canyons. Gorges are very deep and narrow valley with very steep and high walls on either side. In the figure also you can see. A canyon is a specific type of gorge where the layers cut down by a river that are essentially stratified and horizontal in attitude. So this is about the gorges and canyons, third type of landforms. Fourth is the waterfalls. These are defined as magnificent jumps made by a stream or river water at certain specific parts of their course, where there is a sudden and considerable drop in the gradient of the channel. Many falls are easily attributed to unequal erosion of the channel rocks within a short distance due to the inherent nature of the rocks. Next is the river terraces. These are the bench-like ledges or flat surfaces that occur on the sides of many river valley. From a distance, they may appear as succession of several steps of a big natural staircase rising up the river bed. Next is the river meandering. When a stream flows along a curved zigzag path acquiring a loop-shaped course, then it is called as meander. Meanders are developed mostly in the middle and lower reaches of major stream, where lateral erosion and deposition along opposite banks become almost concurrent geological activities of the stream. When a stream is flowing through such a channel, it cannot be assumed to have absolutely uniform velocities all across its widths. The same river is eroding its channel on the concave side and making its progress further inland, whereas on the convex side it is depositing. A loop-shaped outline for the channel is a natural outcome where a stream seen from a distance. Next is the oxbow lakes. In the advanced stages of meandering stream, only relatively narrow strips of land separate the individual loops from each other. During high water times, as during small floods, when the stream acquires good volume of water, it has a tendency to flow straight. Some of the intervening strips of land between the loops get eroded. The stream starts flowing straight in those limited stretches, thereby leaving the loops or loops on the sides either completely detached or only slightly connected. This isolated curved or loop-shaped area of the river, which often contains some water, are generally called as oxbow lakes. So this is about the oxbow lakes. Now we will discuss in this the drainage pattern. The joining of the tributaries with the master stream produces a pattern which is termed as the drainage pattern. The common drainage patterns are dendritic pattern, which is in the figure also you can see below, which is characterized by irregular branching of tributary streams in a similar pattern as that of a tree's branches. Parallel pattern develops on steep slopes where the tributaries and the master stream flow parallel to each other. Trellis pattern, it develops in topography created on a folded structure of synclines and anticlines, faults or joints, etc. We will discuss these terms in the coming lectures. Radial pattern, it consists of drainage lines radiating from a central part as on a dome. So this is about the different types of drainage pattern generally we are getting because of the geological work of river only. Now just concluding this lecture, we have started from the river erosion. We have seen that rivers erode through mechanically and chemical means. Features of river erosion include potholes, river valleys, etc. Then after erosion is the transportation. River transport sediment as suspended load, fine particles like sand and silt, bed load, heavier particles like gravel and covers, and dissolved load, generally soluble materials like salts. Sources of sediment include erosion, mass wasting, and organic materials carried from land to rivers. Third is the deposition by rivers. River deposit sediments when transport conditions change, forming features like alluvial fans, natural levees, deltas, and channel deposits. Deposition processes are significant for creating fertile soils and resources like construction materials. And the different landforms made by the geological work of river are potholes, river valleys, gorges and canyons, waterfalls, river terraces, river meandering, and oxbow lakes. Thank you very much to all.